Hello everyone. My name is Alejandro Arredondo. This is Peyton Jordan, Alex Duck, and Anessa Barbosa, and collectively we are Team Money. And today we're going to present our findings on the research we did for our client, Shirley's Temple, which is a for-profit organization that specializes in hosting and promoting music events and entertainers. And we are going to primarily focus on the problem they presented us with, which is social media presence and how they can optimize that to better attract and retain new clientele and current clientele. So we also kept in mind the questions of what they could better do to optimize their marketing strategy as a whole and to determine better their target market and with precision target that. So I'm going to give some broad strokes of what we're going to talk about. So we're going to first address the primary data collection and summary, the secondary data collection and summary, the findings, the recommendations, and then we'll distill from that the recommendations. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it to PJ, who will talk about the primary data.
Hello, I'm Peyton Jordan. I'll be talking about our primary data collection and primary data analysis. So, to start out, our team distributed surveys mainly to St. Edward's University students and faculty, as well as supporters of Austin's music industry. And we had a target age range of 18 to 35 because we felt like that would be the best demographic that represents which Shirley's Temple is trying to target. And our target sample size was around 350 people, so we could get a 95% confidence level out of our total population of around 5,000. And our survey format was online using Google Forms, and our survey consisted of 11 questions. It was a combination of multiple choice, yes, no, ranking and rating from 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, with 1 being the most preferential choice. And our survey went through a peer review through students in our class, and they gave us feedback on how to make the survey better, and we presented it to Michelle, and she gave us more helpful feedback, and then we presented it to our client, and then we were ready to distribute. And we did that through posting on different social media outlets and using a personal approach, going up to people on the St. Edward's campus. So, for our analysis, here we have a summary of our tallies, and our demographics are listed here: under 18, 18 to 24, 25 to 34, and 35 plus. We had a total survey response of 344, 203 were posted online, 141 were in-person distribution, and as you can see from our pie chart, the largest demographic that we got was 18 and 24. And here are some of our visuals. So the graphs on the left, they are divided into our different demographics, and the ones on the right encompass our total sample population. So we have question 4, do you use social media to tell friends and family about live music events? The blue represents 18 to 24, orange 25 to 34, gray 35 plus, and yellow under 18, and that was divided into yes or no. And here we have question 5, what is the primary way you find out about live events? And the green represents the first choice, their most preferential, and blue is their second, yellow is third, and red is the last, their least preferential. And that was divided into Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, flyers and posters, and word of mouth. Question 7, how often do you attend live music events in Austin? The options were weekly, a couple times a month, a couple times a year, and rarely ever. Question 8, what genre of a live music event would you most be interested in listening to? Rock, punk, folk acoustic, hip hop, and electronic. And question 9, how much of a cover charge would you be willing to pay for a local band? Our options were didn't want to pay covers, $3, $5, $7, and more than $10. Question 11, what are the most important features of a live music venue's social media page to you? And the choices for that were calendar of events, reviews, pictures and videos, and giveaways. And now I'll be passing it off to Alex Duck for secondary research.
All right, like Paige said, my name is Alex Duck, and I will be going over our secondary data collection. So after we gathered our primary data, like the graph showed, we had a main demographic of mostly millennials. So we decided to break the secondary data collection into 3 specific parts. First, we were going to focus on the Austin music scene specifically and what kind of data we see there, because it is so different than a lot of other music scenes nationwide. And second, we went more broad in the United States, what kind of venue attendance trends we saw specifically amongst millennials, because that was our overwhelming majority demographic. And then at the end, because we are talking about social media optimization, we're going to talk about social media marketing, how it pertains to ticketing and venue attendance and just marketing for artists in general. And then our research consists of articles and surveys, and these are resources we'll go through in a second. So first, we're starting locally in the Austin music scene. So this was a music census done last year by a nonprofit called Austin Music People. So we came up with a lot of interesting facts. The first is, I guess, what we kind of one group already talked about in the presentation, that Austin loves to drink. So we have one bar for every 67 people. So basically, I mean, like I said, everyone in this whole city of drinking age could go into a bar and it would never have capacity. So there's a lot of competition, and most of these bars, since we're the live music capital of the world, have some sort of live music aspect to them. So the second is that most of Austin's music scene is comprised of local acts. That's how they make most of their money. So unlike this graph here, unlike most cities, Austin, as the data showed, most revenue comes from local acts. And then also, musicians get paid a lot less here than they do anywhere else. Pre-tax individual income for musicians is less than $10,000. So after we got that data for the local Austin music scene, we kind of went into what the country was doing as a whole and kind of what millennials wanted from music and clubs and just going out and enjoying music. So these are some quotes we got from this survey that was done by the Bar Industry Authority. It was a 10,000 person survey, and they we have a lot of the quotes in the report, but we just kind of put some up here. Basically, millennials were saying stuff that they wanted. They wanted a cool and interesting environment. They just didn't want to go to a bar that was like a sports bar or anything else. Shirley's Temple's not a bar, it's a music venue, but we thought we could apply these to also like a DIY venue. They also thought that sound production and video production was important, because they said that seeing your favorite band in town, or trying to find a new band that sounds really bad, it's really loud, too loud, or not mixed right, then that was an issue for them as well, more so than other demographics. Also, some survey stats was 78% of millennials tend to want to spend more money on experiences rather than things. So that's a positive thing. We just have to, and we'll go in later how we're going to capture that experience thing. And then everyone's been to a concert, they've been on Snapchat. We've seen the 300-second long Snapchats at your favorite show, at music festivals and all that. So that's also important, is to make your space in a way that when your people are posting on social media, they know where that person is, because everyone's going to take their phones out and videotape the bands they're playing. And also, as far as the cover charge goes, this kind of was in line with the primary data as well. 62% of millennials said anything over $5, they start getting a little weary to pay, just because $5 is really easy. It's only one bill. You don't have to get change or anything like that. So lastly, since we talked about venues in general, but Shirley's Temple is a little bit different because it's a DIY venue. So it has some unique challenges that maybe normal clubs and bars specifically don't run into. So we wanted to dive deeper into the health of the DIY scene, which is basically, something like a warehouse show, not necessarily has all the licenses that the same club or bar would have. It's like the name, it's do it yourself. So it really relies on the community to kind of hold it together, and not maybe one or two owners. It's usually, like in Shirley's Temple case, a lot of owners. So we cited a Noisy article and a Westword article, and they were talking about just the health of the DIY scene and how important it is. It might not make as much revenue as your typical, in Austin, like Stubbs or the amphitheater and all that, but it's important because it's the ground level, the concrete, as Noisy said, it's the ground level for a thriving music scene, because it kind of inspires the mainstream. It's where fringe, and like the Westworld said, it's where fringe artists can kind of come up and take risks and practice their crafts on like non-pressure situations and kind of develop their art in a way. And then finally, which was kind of the whole basis of our presentation, in our recommendations was the social media trends. So I think everyone's been kind of seeing this, is that Facebook dominates the market for online adults, taking about 80% of the market share. And then video and photo content, also mentioned earlier, is shared so much more than just text posts. So it's important, yeah, very important. And then and this whole study was done by Pew Research Center and Eventbrite, which is one of the biggest ticketing companies in the country. So they also said that Facebook events was still the most used thing to show, like tell people about smaller events, not your big like Nicki Minaj tours and all that stuff, but like your local shows. It's still the most used. And since Facebook is the most used, that makes sense. All right, and now for our conclusions, I'm going to hand it over to Janisa.
I'm Vanessa Barbosa, and I'll be explaining the findings for the primary and secondary research, starting with the primary findings. So the sample size for our data collection was primarily made of the 18 to 24 age group, so our findings are greatly influenced by that group. And interesting little factoid that you might have not heard is that Facebook is the most popular tool that people use. 61% of 18 to 24-year-olds have Facebook as their top choice, and 74% of all participants use some form of social media to tell their friends and family about live events in Austin. And getting the info out there is essential for boosting attendance. The two older age groups that we surveyed, we found that they don't attend live events that often, but 49% of 18 to 24-year-olds attend live events at least once a month, and around 30% attend weekly. And looking into favorite genres, rock and punk is a favorite across the board, but hip hop is gaining popularity, especially in the younger crowds. 62% of 18 to 24-year-olds list hip hop in one of their top two choices. And even though our under 18 group was so small, all of them chose hip hop as one of their top choices. The data also showed that 44.2% are willing to pay the $5 cover charge, but more are willing to pay more than $5 than less, so at least that's something. And the most important feature that live event venues need to have on their social media page is the calendar of events. And then going into the secondary findings. Facebook is still the primary research tool that is used for music marketing and events, since it utilizes a combination of visuals and text posts. But photo and video content is shared 62% more of the time than text entries. And as Alex was saying, that in order for millennials to be interested in the experience of an event, there needs to be a combination of visuals and that important event calendar in order to boost attendance. And DIY venues need to be able to attract millennial patrons by being digitally creative and having quality audio production. Thank you, and I'll pass it over to Alex for our recommendations.
Thank you. So I'm going to go through these and these recommendations that are a combination of both the secondary and primary data. So we've synthesized both of those to come up with these. The key ones, however, are the charging a $5 cover fee, so pretty self-explanatory. Placing a calendar of events on a website. So you can use Facebook events, and you create just a schedule of who you're going to host and what they're gonna play. So what kind of genre of music they're gonna specialize in, and what could appeal to the crowd. So that's very important. That's the main thing we found in our primary research on top of the $5 cover fee. Adding a website link. So we went through the Facebook page of the company, and we didn't find a website link. So adding something as simple as that could create a lot of turnover, and it could really benefit business, but not only on Facebook, but on your other social media platforms such as Twitter or Snapchat, any other social media platforms that you use. Facebook does a very good job with the notification system. They regularly update users of when they have an event coming up, but other platforms may not. So we would suggest that it's in the report, but you create a notification system so you don't let anybody forget that you're going to host these great artists and you don't want them missing out, so you just remind them. Feature more rock, punk, and hip hop artists, but do not become genre specific. So many people in the surveys, it showed that they did not want to go to places that were genre specific. They'd rather listen to a variety of music, but there were still people that preferred rock and punk and hip hop. Managing the interplay between those genres is not impossible, mainly because of the nuances of musicians and artistry. So you can definitely find artists that can manage to play a variety of genres. And lastly, using photos and videos on social media posts. We've heard from other presentations that it generates the most interest and turnover for using on a social media platform. So in the report, we fleshed out exactly how to attract different clientele using those tools of photos and videos on social media platforms. And such an example would be to use Facebook Live, but that's on Facebook. Others, we have Snapchats, we have other kinds of live streaming that definitely piques people's interest and generates consumer action. So, in conclusion, we touched on the primary data, the secondary data, and we distilled those data into the recommendations, and the key ones are the $5 cover fee, the calendar of events, photos and videos usage, and the website links, so you can generate the best bang for your buck and turnovers. We'll take any questions. Thank you for listening. Yes.
So what is that $5 cover fee covering exactly in your minds?
Alex?
Yeah, so like you saw, I think we had a stat, maybe it's in the report, wasn't up there, that vanishing cover 0% cover charges for bars who have recently been it accounts for like 32% of their revenue and about 70% of musicians' revenue. Because I don't know how you guys split it up. That's really simple, but I know that usually at venues, the bars and venues like weary to split the bar tab and give it to musicians, so they charge at the door, and then they'll pay the bands and then the sound guy
Right.
for that money. So usually, a lot of the times, the $5 is going right to the musicians. So with vanishing cover charges, we believe that you're going to see a decrease in quality of music because those artists just won't be able to play here and play at these venues that we love anymore, and that'll also be bad for venue attendance too. So.
And I believe the business model is targeted toward generating revenue through alcohol sales. So it's mainly just an expense cover, and then you generate the revenue through the alcohol fees.
But a cover charge is even more important for Shirley's Temple because they aren't a bar selling alcohol.
Yeah.
That's really the only way.
And there is that shift to some people we found were more willing to pay with the larger cover charge. So there's that to keep in mind as well.
And a lot of people enjoy alcohol. So
Andrew, is that something that
Yeah.
you would do or have done, or
What?
a cover charge?
I always do $5.
Yeah.
Is that just a
It's always
standard?
$5.
And what's your thought behind that dollar figure?
I think $5 is the easiest because it's easier to have a $5 bill rather than have a couple of ones and five.
So it's not really to support something per se, it's just ease?
Well, it depends. If I'm doing a late night party that has EDM and they're supplying, say they're getting Tito's
Yeah.
to sponsor the event. Usually what I'll do is I'll have them pay $250 as like a deposit, and they can charge whatever they want at the door because they usually worked out a guarantee with the artist on
I
their
see.
own. And
I
so
see.
I'm not responsible for paying the artist at that point because the promoter's already paid me. So they can charge $10, $20, if people are gonna pay it, I mean, it's put on by a different company, it's not put on by me. So generally, I mean, that's how I've liked doing it lately, because it works out a lot better for me financially, but
And it sounds like, I mean, that's what they found out to be the case anyway, so you're doing the right thing. Okay, just wondering. Okay, sorry, I didn't
Question.
know.
I don't know if I missed it. Is it BYOB?
Yes, right now, yeah.
Sorry.
Which was it,
Where's it located?
It's off of Airport and Lamar,
which is new, BYOB was a new addition, right?
probably since late February.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, thank you.
I guess we're done. Okay, bye, thank you. No more questions. Next, who's up?
We felt we answered all of them.
Okay then. Poverty. Hi, thank you, my love. Thank you, thank you. Oh, shoot, I forgot again. I covered all the questions. You guys,